Dave, what about Tony Stewart?
You're exactly right, Alan. That is the strategy that they're employing here. In fact, I checked in their pit, and they tell me that they may not start racing until after the final round of pit stops. He came in on lap 49, and the rumor around the garage area was they could go maybe closer to lap 60 on fuel. So I asked Greg Zepidelli, the crew chief, why they came in so early. No reason to really stay out. Come in, check things over, check their mileage. Tony doesn't want to race until the end, and so it's just all routine for the 20 car.
See the paint scheme on the car a little different than we normally see out of the Home Depot machine. Coca-Cola and Home Depot and Tony and Joe Gibbs teaming up with the Marine Corps' Toys for Tots program to try and boost that effort up around the holiday time. 100% of the royalties from their Polar Bear die casts and collectibles are going to Toys for Tots. And the same for Bobby Labonte's car. They've got a little different paint on that one this week too. Same program. So there you go. Your Polar Bears along for a ride on an October afternoon in Alabama.
Good for them.
Johnny Benson. Matt, what's going on with him?
Alan, the same scenario for Johnny Benson as Tony Stewart. James Ince, Benson's crew chief, was trying to get Benson to the back the last 3 plate races. That's where they've run the first part of the race just to keep their car out of trouble. But they were running so well up at the front, they were afraid they were going to get wrecked if they threw the anchor out to get to the back. So now after their stop, they are going to hang at the back and just play it safe.
37th place is where Johnny Benson runs right now.
Look at that. Last lap he ran 192 miles per hour running in the back, trying to stay out of trouble.
The only problem with this strategy of running in the back is it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to miss the wreck if it happens in front of you.
No.
Bobby Labonte back at Daytona during the 500 was running something like 28th or 30th and ended up with the 5th place car, Tony Stewart, on top of his hood when they had that big scramble in the late laps. Sterling Marlin on board with him. He, remember, dropped to the back of the field earlier in the race. He's moved back up to 12th place now, but we talked with Sterling about the strategy of running in the back and his frustrations at this type of racing. Here's what he had to say.
In May, we had a good car, just got hung in the back. You know, look around, there's me and Dale, Jarrett, and Gordon, and we're all hung. We can't go nowhere. So it's pretty aggravating racing. We come in and done a test for him, and we thought, you know, there's going to change some stuff where you at least have to think a little bit to make a pass. But, you know, come with the same rules, and, you know, we'll just try to hang on what we got and try to lead if we can. And, you know, it's a bunch of them talking about going to the rear and just waiting because they dodged a big one here for a while. And, you know, when it comes time to race, go up there and hold your breath for 20, 30 laps, try to get back to front.
And, you know, a lot what you do here, it depends on who's going to run with you. When you make a move, that doesn't mean it's going to be a good move. You got to have help. You got to have guys in your mirror to help push you by other cars. So it's frustrating because you can't go anywhere unless you do have help. And even if you do have help, like you see these two guys right here, they do, and Burton, they're just stuck running the same speed. Now those cars in front of them lined up, this pack right here, they could pull away from that second pack if they stay side by side, because they're running slower racing side by side than these guys are in line.
Michael Walter ran 191 miles per hour and 191 and a half. Also, Dale Earnhardt Jr. did as well. Let's go on board Dale Earnhardt Jr. and just see what kind of telemetry we can see. We can see 194 miles per hour. RPM's about 7,300. Look how constant that mile per hour stays. Now, as he goes in the corner and hits the bank, it's going to start slowing down. As you have to make the car go around the other direction, we can see that it lost about 6 miles per hour going through the turn.
And that's without him taking his foot up off the floor.
Just having to make that turn. And we can see that the back straightaway appears to be much faster today than the front. There must be a tailwind down the back straight. Now let's go back to Kevin Harvick. Remember, he's out there running by himself, and we'll see what kind of mile per hour that he's able to attain with no cars out there.
Not too good.
Not too good. See, he goes to the corner down to 180 miles per hour. And Junior, the slowest speed we saw was 188. You see it 179. And watch as he goes down the front straight. What we see on Junior, 190, 94, 93. That was on the back. But you can see easily 7 to 8 miles per hour slower on Harvick with no cars around him to draft.
Kevin Harvick running 40 seconds behind the leader. 41 seconds behind the leader. That means they're coming up behind him fast, and he's going to be a lap down unless he gets a caution. Michael Waltrip is your leader of the EA Sports 500 on NBC, presented by Dodge. Didn't you call the banking here at Talladega a black diamond ski slope?
Yeah, Stewart was going down a black diamond there. That was steep.
Yeah, I'd love to watch them film that. That would have been great. Tony Stewart hanging around the back of the pack right now here at Talladega, 37th spot. Choosing to wait till later to try and make a charge up through traffic. He is 5.5 seconds behind leader Michael Waltrip, rather. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is second. Matt Kenseth third. Todd Bodine fourth. Mark Martin is fifth. Marty Snyder has an update on the top two for us.
Well, a little while ago we were talking about the Coca-Cola Racing family, and I'd say Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. are doing a good job representing Coke. Michael was tight on the run before this. When he came down pit road, they put tape on the front end because about lap 10, he made some pretty serious contact with John Andretti. Did it in where the left front headlight would be on your passenger car. They taped it up, knocked it out a little bit. Michael running just fine right now. Here's the deal with Dale Jr. When he was out front, his oil temperature was 225, water 185. But now that he's behind, 255 on the oil, 225 on the water. What he does every once in a while, you'll see him in the tri-oval especially. He'll duck out from behind his teammate and get a little fresh air into the front of the car. Helps cool it down, he says, about 15 degrees on the front stretch.
Look at this for 8th place. The 97 and 29 on the inside are a lap down. Harvick and Kurt Busch have both been overtaken by the leaders. But the rest of that mess is all for top 10 spots.
And if you're concerned about these guys getting left, well, I don't think there's any concern about that. All they got to do is get in line. They should be able to run the top 6 down. But right now they do have about 100 yards between the 6th and 7th place car.
Aerial views at Talladega, courtesy of the United States Army, an army of one. Remember, Kevin Harvick, we saw, get sideways on the pit lane, and that extra time for the crew to push the car back before he took off is what dropped him off of the draft.
And also the 97 car, that's the car that he was in front of sideways. So it cost Kurt Busch being able to get back on the racetrack. That's what he's doing left.
One little mistake here like that cost you a lap, because if you lose that lead draft like I talked about earlier, you cannot catch up unless you get a yellow. And if you just lose 2 or 3 seconds in the pits, no matter what happens, it's tough.
Matt?
Benny, I spoke with Ben Leslie, the crew chief on the 97. He told me they didn't have a stellar stop. It ended up being a 19.5, but one of the reasons why it was so long, they had to back up to go around Kevin Harvick. So not only did they have a slow stop, but he hindered their exit. That cost them even more time.
It's cost him a lap. He's back in 40th place. Driver who finished third here in the April race this year.
Now we see that second group. We see about 7 or 8 cars get single file, and watch how quickly that Jerry Nadeau, the 25, Jeff Gordon, runs down Bobby Labonte and that lead group.
Ward Burton running 6th in that lead group. Bill Weber.
And Alan, for the first 50 laps of this race, Ward could barely drive the car. It was all over the racetrack. In fact, he said it felt like it was seesawing. The front of the car, the nose lifting up, the back, the rear settling down, back and forth throughout the first 50 laps. They came in with 2 rounds down on the track bar and sent him back out. He says the car is still pushing much more than it did here yesterday in final practice, but it is getting a little better, and his place on the track a little better as well. This could be a big run for his car owner, Bill Davis. It was announced this week that Dave Blaney is leaving because there is no secured sponsorship for the other car in the Bill Davis Racing stable that's a teammate with Ford. Well, remember, Bill Davis went through this once before. Down the stretch of the season, trying to keep a promising driver, but couldn't guarantee him sponsorship. That driver had to leave as well. That driver was Bobby Labonte. Bill Davis will not stand in the way of a good driver's career, but he desperately needs a sponsorship for that second car for next season.
And should he come up with one, he'll have no problem finding a quality driver to jump into a Bill Davis car. It is good equipment.
And there we see
the do it, wouldn't you, Walt?
I know how good equipment is. We almost won Watkins Glen.